It's long. It's long. Let's go ahead and get started. Before I get into our UCC lien class, I do want to say that I just want to thank the team, the Moorish American Consulate Judiciary, for all that they do. They're just working tirelessly to get so much done, and I just want to send a quick shout out to them. Okay. If you do not have a sample of the lien, go ahead and you can go to moorishamericanconsulate.org, and there will be numerous liens up there that we are doing and have done. All right, I'm going to go ahead and mute everyone so that we can get started, so that we get out of here in a decent time frame, and then we'll unmute at question time. So if you have questions, just write them down and keep them until the end, because there's a couple of things I want to show you that I did not show you last time, that we have access to as Moors now. When we're doing our lien documents, what we want to make sure that we keep in mind with them is we're doing them from an allodial perspective. So everything that we do it in our proper person, okay? And if you look on the screen behind me, if you don't have a sample with you, you can just follow along with the sample that I have here. Okay? And it'll be on the screen. Okay. When we do our liens, we always want to do them on Moorish American Consulate Moorish government letterhead. Anyone that we lien, they cannot come back and try and retaliate in some way because we're not using their debtor transmitting utilities, like Social Security numbers and TINs and EINs and things like that. We don't use any of those things. We're all the way away from those. So when we're doing our liens, and we do them as the government, because we the people are in fact part and parcel of our government. Okay, and there's some other added things that I'm going to show you with regard to the liens today as well. So first we do them on our letterhead, and let's start with page 1. Page 1, Affidavit of Written Initial Uniform Commercial Code Financing Statement. When we file our UCC liens, we, as Moorish American nationals, are party to the National Safe Harbor Program. That's UCC 9 subsection 521, whereby Moorish American nationals, Moorish American nationals can file their liens and claims in any UCC office in the state, or but file ours in Washington, D.C. To do that is because that is where all corporations emanate from, okay? Now, you do want to put the date on it, and then the corporation to be liened on page 1. All corporations are placed in all capital letters, and make sure that when you place them in all capital letters and you're putting their address, you put the address the way that we note addresses, because an address is a corporate jurisdiction in the corporate jurisdiction. So when we do their address, we would do it the same way as you see it here in all capital letters. Put the city and the state and the zip code. Zip codes are, in fact, their jurisdiction. Zip codes were not even in effect until the 1960s. And that was just another layer that they put on top of their jurisdiction, which is now non-existent, especially since we're awake, okay? So they have no jurisdiction, but we're going to keep them on their paper. okay? On their paper, this is where they are. And then you want to insert certified and return receipt tracking numbers here. So normally we get a certified or a registered mail receipt. And when we pick that up before we do the lien so that we can insert that number in to our document so that we know where we sent that item, when, and we can track it from place of origin to destination, okay? So when I pick up my return receipts and I know I'm going to do some liens, I just take the receipts, log the number in here, and I say, okay, this one is going to go to Washington, D.C., this one's going to go to Muriel Bowser, which is the mayor of Washington, D.C. She gets a copy. District of Columbia Government Corporation gets a copy of your lien, and the Office of Tax and Revenue gets a copy of your lien. And the reason being is that, again, all corporations emanate from Washington, D.C. So that is where all of our liens, that's where we send them. Okay. Okay. And who is the lien from? The Moorish American Consulate, the Moorish National Republic Federal Government. Now, again, each one of you is part and parcel of your government. So you can put Moorish National Republic Federal Government on your paperwork. Now, remember, you must be a nationalized, declared Moor. On paper, you have to be declared and nationalized before you can use this process. So you're part and parcel once you declare your nationality of the Moorish National Republic Federal Government, and you are all encouraged to get a Moorish American Consulate number, a MAC number. That's what we call them, MAC numbers, a Moorish American Consulate. It's just a document number. It's not a social or anything like that. And not only do you have a whole nation, but there are judges and a legitimate Article III court that is right there with you when you send your documents out. We have our own courts, so we're not afraid of anything that we're doing. We don't have to go to a court that has the fringes, the war fringes around the flag. We're not at war, we're at peace. So we don't go into any buildings that have that flag there, a banner of amity and commerce with yellow fringes around it. We don't do that, okay? So we send our affidavits and writs to those places, okay? Affidavit of written and issue, uniform commercial code financing statement, fixture filing. Uniform form of written financing statement. We always do our liens as uniform forms of written financing statements. And the reason being is because we don't fill out any of their forms. And I went over that the last time, so I won't belabor that point. But any forms that the service corporation gives you, I don't care what they are. I don't care if they just want to know something very basic. We don't fill out their forms. We give them our affidavits so that we stay in our jurisdiction. And our affidavits always have our flags and sigils and signs on the top of them. And if they tell you they don't take them, you give them a notice of intent to lien, because they will take our documents. They will take our documents, we'll lien them out of business, and they won't be on our land anymore. Okay? So any of the codes that you want to know with regard to our status as secured first-party creditors, you can look these codes up in the Washington, D.C. code, okay? Because, again, Washington, D.C. is where all corporations emanate from, and it's in their codes. And we don't even do codes and statutes, but we did them for this because they're not applying to us. It's to help them know what to do with our paperwork. But those codes are not codes that are applying to us specifically, because we are outside the jurisdiction of any of their codes. But we put the codes on here so that when they look at our written UCCs, they already know we are obligated to take these. We have to take them because they're coming from the nobility of the land. Okay? Now, Uniform Commercial Code 28, subsection 9-521, Uniform Form of Written Financing Statement. A filing office that accepts written records may not refuse to accept a written initial financing statement in this form and format, except for a reason set forth in 28.9, subsection 9-516B, entitled What Constitutes a Filing? Effectiveness of filing. When you get a chance, look those codes up, and you will see that there's nothing in the codes that prohibits us from doing our financing statements in this manner, okay? And then it says, except as otherwise provided in subsection B, communication of a record to a filing office and tender of the filing fee or acceptance of the record by the filing office constitutes filing. So when you track your document to Washington, D.C., to Muriel Bowser, and it gets there, that is acceptance of the record by the filing office, and that constitutes a filing, so you can use that as your filing date. We do not pay their filing fees because they're on our land, and Washington, D.C. knows that. Okay? And then also, I wanted to bring something out really quickly. Aboriginal and Indigenous peoples documents, this little statement down at the bottom, that statement is really important. It's small, but it means a lot because it says that they cannot take our documents, bundle them up like they do mortgages and birth certificates and Social Security numbers and all that stuff. Take that stuff and bundle it up and put it on the stock market. Well, our documents are so powerful, but they cannot do that because our documents have our flags and signs and sigils on them. And this statement at the bottom, that this is an Aboriginal and Indigenous people's document. And then usually with our signature, and this is something that we just recently started doing, even though we have this statement is enough. But what we started signing and saying, I am the owner, are the owners of these documents at all times. That way they can't just go out there and start, selling our documents and making all time, because they would make a killing off our documents. They would make so much money, it's ridiculous. Gold, they'll be getting gold and silver everywhere on our documents. But if you've ever filed a document with them and it had that on it, don't worry about it. It's okay, because at the end of the day, if it has our flags and signs and sigils on the top of it, they can't sell it still. Nobody will buy it because everyone knows what those flags mean. So, okay, and then with regard to the filing office, 28 subsection 9-501, except as otherwise provided in subsection B, if the local law of the district governs perfection of a security interest or agricultural lien, the office in which to file a financing statement to perfect the security interest or agricultural lien is the recorder of deeds, if the financing statement is filed as a fixture filing and the collateral is goods that are or are to become fixtures. The mayor in all other cases, including a case in which the collateral is goods that are or are to become fixtures and the financing statement is not filed as a fixture filing. Our financing statements are filed as fixture filings. But see, we have a conglomeration of these situations here, which our stuff is always going to be a little bit outside of their codes, and that's okay because our processes and the things that we do supersede anything that they do. So no corporate codes and statutes will ever supersede the supreme law of the land, ever. So when we're doing something like filing these documents in order to make a corporation come into alignment with the Constitution and the treaty, because that's really what those contracts are. It's the Constitution and the treaty that our liens are based on, which is what keeps us in our jurisdiction. Whenever we're doing that, it is a mix of there's collateral involved because our land, everything on this land belongs to us anyway, so there's always going to be collateral involved. And it's always going to be usually it will be a fixture like a building or an airport or a property, some property of some kind. It will always be something of that nature. Okay. The office in which to file a financing statement to perfect the security interest and collateral, including fixtures of a transmitting utility, is the office of the mayor. We send ours to each one of these offices, and the reason is, again, it's a hybrid document. And hybrid documents are documents that they would not normally see our documents. They haven't in the past normally seen them in the quantity that they're seeing them now. And so we want to be sure that the documents get effectuated, and we know that they have because we can see the liens that we've placed working. So we send it to both the recorder of deeds and the mayor. Okay. And again, everything that we do is going to be a hybrid strategy anyway with regard to our paperwork because we're usually effectuating things that are outside of their legislation. So again, hybrid strategies always win where we're concerned, and that as you study more and you see that we don't just attack, and it's not even an attack, it's a breakfast fight. We're not one-sided and we're not linear. We come from all directions because we have so many chakras that we can gain victory and gain jurisdiction, which is all of it is ours anyway, but we can do that with the strategies that we use, and usually those strategies are hybrid strategies, okay? So, and then duration and effectiveness of financing statement, effect of lapsed financing statement. If a debtor is a transmitting utility and a filed initial financing statement, so it is effective until a termination statement is filed. So when you're talking about termination statements, I have yet to file a termination statement. I probably will file one in the future because the corporations are starting to get in line and do what they're supposed to do. But until we see some faster movement, because right now it's taking about 90 days from the time that we file a lien for the corporations to actually, get in line and do what they're supposed to do, and at least start creating the processes by which nationals are to be cared for, taken care of, okay? And so until that time, once they get in line and they do what they're supposed to do, then we can, if we so choose, send a termination statement whereby the lien will be listed, okay? So we have that authority as well. Okay. Name and phone number of contact at filer. You can always put the Moorish American Consulate, or you can put the Moorish National Republic Federal Government. Again, you must be a declared nationalized Moor. And if you put Moorish American Consulate, make sure you don't MAC number on here, but just make sure you have it tucked away somewhere, just so that we know when we get the paperwork who it's coming from. Okay. Email contact at filer. You can put your email address there so that when if they need to contact you about the lien, they can send an email to you about it. Okay. Send acknowledgement to name and address, Moorish American Consulate, Moorish National Republic Federal Government. You can send the acknowledgments to us if you choose to do that. I have gotten some, quite a few actually. Sharon has, on this particular one, Sharon Tracy Gale Bay, who is just the most awesome ever. She has her information here. But you can also have acknowledgments sent to yourself as well. Okay? Now, when the Moors, and most of you know this, but I'm going to go ahead and reiterate it really quickly for the new Moors that we love so much and we're so happy they're here. When we do our mailing locations, because we don't have addresses, we have mailing locations. It's not in all capital letters, okay? And we do care of, and then we put the mailing location. And then when it comes to what would normally be a corporate city, we don't live in corporate cities. We live in our own jurisdiction in the inherited estate. So we will put near, and in this case it's Havertown, Pennsylvania Republic. Okay? Havertown, Pennsylvania Republic. Zip exempt, because we don't do zip codes. That's their paper stuff. That's corporate stuff. We don't do that. And then North America, okay? All right, this is the good part. Who is the corporation that has violated the Moors? That's the debtors. We have been creditors the entire time that we've been on the earth. We've never been in debt. We've never been debtors. We just did not know that. But all corporations are so far indebted to the Moors that it is unbelievable. Why? Because each corporation and our resources, and it doesn't even matter where on the earth they are, they're using our land and our resources in order to enrich themselves. Therefore, there's no way that they can ever get out of debt to us because they owe everything that they have. All of the, you know, if we're talking about, let's just say, for example, an electric company. The electric company first built their buildings and stuff. They had to get the land to build the building on in the first place. All of the nails and cement and the bricks and all of that they used to build the building, that's ours. The land that they put it on, that's ours. The paper that they used to send out bills and things like that, bills of attainder, which were only supposed to be going to the citizens, by the way, that's ours too. All of that is ours. Any electricity that they use is ours. Any inventions that they come up with, they have to actually pick up a material somewhere. That's ours too. And unbeknownst to many of them, even their intellectual property stemmed from the Moors and the things that we've done in the past. So they haven't come up with anything new. All of that corporate stuff, we've done it before. Okay? So nothing new under the sun. The Moors did it a long time ago. Okay? So corporation name, put their name, whoever it is that's violating, or whoever it is, and they don't even necessarily have to violate you. And remember, anyone with an all caps name is a corporation, and that's why we don't use them. Because judges, quote unquote, those administrative clerks pretending to be judges on our land, they're corporations too. Any word in all capital letters, according to the U.S. Writing Style Manual of old that they used to write the laws, says that any word in all capital letters is either a U.S. vessel, which means you're out there at sea, it is a dead person, or it's a corporation. And a corporation is another name or another word for corpse. Okay? Preaching to the choir, most of you already know that, but I want to make sure I don't forget any of the things that the new Moors need to know as well in terms of why we do things. Okay? So you put the name of the corporation there. If there is, and there are name of a person, a CEO, a administrative clerk pretending to be a judge, someone doing business as a president, something like that. There has to be an individual's name on all of our liens, okay? Individual surname, first personal name, always. You always want to address people and not necessarily just a corporation, so quote-unquote corporation or building, okay? And then property address, again, in all capital letters, put the property address. The city, state, postal code, country, all of that in capital letters. Okay? And then on the liens, you can have as many debtors. Because we do written liens, you can have as many debtors as you choose. Okay? If 15 people doing business as administrative clerks and policy enforcers, whom people erroneously refer to as police officers, if they have violated you, put their names in there. If you don't have their personal addresses, try and get their personal addresses by looking up online so that we can lien them personally in their personal capacities, because we can do that. are on our land, and we have done that. But if you don't have their personal addresses, then you can put the address of the policy enforcer station, and that way, you know, anyone who's outside of the treaty and the Constitution, that's the Treaty of Peace and Friendship 1786 and 1836, which is the longest standing treaty on record. If they're operating outside of that treaty, which is ours, mentions more specifically, then they need to be lien in their personal capacity. Because a lot of their activities are making it so that our children can't eat, or our children are missing their parents, you know, and our children are suffering because they've chosen to follow corporate statutes and codes instead of following the Constitution and the treaty. And the Constitution, the treaty, and the Declaration of Independence are the reasons why they're here. We allowed them to come here, but we gave them contracts that they have to follow. The Declaration of Independence, and this is really key, where those who came through Ellis Island and on the Mayflower, and who came at Plymouth Rock and on all types of boats and ships, who came here on those boats and ships, because, you know, we didn't come here on boats and ships. But those people who come here on boats and ships, if they decide that they don't want to follow that, remember, they made a pledge in the Declaration of Independence that says, we pledge, if you please let us stay here on your land, we pledge our lives, our fortunes, and our honor. They promised our ancestors that if we would just allow them to stay here. And shortly after that, we gave them the treaty, and then after that, we gave them the Constitution. Okay? And if anyone has any doubt about who wrote the Constitution, House Congressional Resolution 331, 100 Congress, second session, tells you that the Six Nations of the Iroquois Confederacy, which is our ancestors, wrote the Constitution and gave it to the framers. They put it in a frame, George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. They didn't write it. They put it in a frame like they, you know, that's what they're supposed to do, honor it, put it in a frame. So that's why they're called the framers of the Constitution, okay, given to them by our ancestors. And these people have to follow, they have to do what they're supposed to do with regard to the Moors on our land. The treaty, look into it carefully because they're supposed to be granting us passage. They're not supposed to be pulling us over and stopping us when we have our Moorish tags on our conveyances and we're traveling in the jurisdiction of our ancestral inherited estate. They have no right whatsoever to pull us over and question us on our own land. And in fact, we should be asking them, where's your green card? And why are you here on our land doing what you're doing here? What gives you the authority? Who delegated your authority to do that? We need to know those things, okay? And again, you can list as many debtors as you want to because, again, when they pull you over, remember, they're the debtor, you're the creditor. Why is the debtor pulling the creditor over trying to lien them? Why? That's an outlaw, you know. Okay? So where the debtors are concerned, we get the same information from each of them. We get the organization's name or the individual surname, and the reason the word surname is there, because even the UCC knows that surname is a British word. It's a foreign word. It's not an appellation. We have appellations. They have surnames. When people call you ma'am or sir, that's British. I'm not British, so don't call me ma'am or sir, because that doesn't have anything to do with any of us. You know, don't let them call you sirs, and I'm not going to let them call me ma'am. Okay? Additional names that are part of the name of the debtor. Any additional names, so for example, there's a sheriff in Gwinnett County, and I'm going to put him on blast because he was the last offender that we've had to address. Butch Conway, I believe is his name, in all capital letters. He is doing business as the sheriff of Gwinnett, and he recently picked up one of our Moors unlawfully. And so he would be sheriff of, you would put sheriff of Gwinnett County. So individual surname would be Butch Conway, and then the additional names as part of that suffix is doing business as sheriff of Gwinnett County. And then you put the Gwinnett County Sheriff Office mailing address or any other address that you, of whoever it is that's operating unlawfully on our land, okay? And we're not scared to call them out because they have to get right. Get right or get out. It's our land. Okay? Secured first-party creditor, that's us. Okay? We have that status, and that status takes precedence and priority over all other statuses. So as the secured first-party creditor, no matter how many liens might be there before our lien gets there, when our lien shows up, all other creditors must take second place. Okay? So this is where we come in at. And you make sure, again, because when we do our liens, we're doing them as the government because that's who we are. It's we the people, for the people, by the people, of the people. That's the government. That's us. That's the part that our ancestors put in the Constitution, okay? So here we are, secured first party, Moorish National Republic federal government, okay? When you put that there, there's protection for you, okay? Again, you must be a declared Moor. You must be of the bloodline and birthright. That means that your mother is a Moor, and that your grandmother is a Moor, and that makes you a Moor, okay, because it is a bloodline and birthright situation, okay? And then Moorish American appellation here. So Light Tajiri Bay would go here, or whatever your appellation is goes there, not in all capital letters. We put it in lowercase letters like we were taught to spell our appellations. And then you do your mailing location. And again, mailing location does not go in all capital letters for the Moors because our mailing location is in our jurisdiction, okay? And yes, we are without the United States of America in all capital letters. That's not us. That's a corporation. And we're not a part of any corporation, okay? Now, the collateral statement. This is the part that it's pretty much a standard collateral statement. Make that many changes to it, but on this lien template, we've made it so that all you have to do is put in a certain bit of information, and your lien is in fact valid and effective. Okay? Collateral. This financing statement covers the following collateral. The financing statement covers, the collateral covered by this financing statement is the indebtedness of the debtor to the secured first-party creditor in the some certain amount of, and you can place whatever amount there you choose to place. And as you all know, they need some type of a quantum banking system for us because our numbers are pretty large, much larger than they're accustomed to seeing, and that's okay. They're supposed to be. We are the heirs to all land and all natural resources, to include oil, gold, silver, copper, platinum, titanium, water, crop. Anything that comes from the land, we are the heirs to it, and so our numbers are generally pretty large, okay? And they are indebted from day one. From the time they came off the boat, they were indebted to us because they were stepping on our land, and payment starts as soon as you step on the land, okay? Okay. So we put in whatever amount is here. Usually we do around 100 million or 100 billion or something of that magnitude, which is not a whole lot. We usually operate in the trillions for us. And we do that in gold-backed lawful tender due for each the debtor is occupying upon the land to which, and you put your Moorish appellation here, you and all Moorish American nationals of the Moorish National Republic federal government, the Moorish American Consulate, and the Moorish Divine and National Movement of the world are heirs to. Okay? So you're not doing the lien in and of yourself. You're doing it for you, and then they also have to pay all the Moors. And that is what has made our liens effective, is that we do it as the government, and we are doing it for all Moors. Okay? And just so that you all are aware, each and all declared Moors are worth trillions and trillions already, because we've already filed liens against the Service Corporation for that amount for each one of you. And we have each other's back like that. So every lien that you do, it's honored because it comes from the people. Okay? It's honored because it comes from the people. So again, when we filed the lien against the United States Corporation Company and bankrupted them and put them out of business like they are right now, they're shut down now. When we filed the lien back in August of this year, this past 2018, we did it in the name of all Moors, and we want every parcel of land that they're claiming or that they're sitting on, including the 10 by 10 miles of Washington, D.C., and all other government, quote-unquote, government buildings, and government is in all capital letters because that's not the government, we're the government. All parcels, we want 100 trillion for each Moor, for each parcel that you're occupying on our land because you owe it to us. And if they have the means to go around the earth and because we would have never wanted to enslave the rest of the world like that. Those are our brothers and sisters, our indigenous family over there. And since if they have the means to do that, then, okay, pay us each more 100 million or 100 trillion or 100, however much, or duo decillion to the Moors, to each one of us, okay? And that's all Moors. And when we say all Moors, the Moorish Divine and National Movement of the world, that is the total of all Moors on the earth. Okay? The Moorish National Republic land in the Western Hemisphere. And also again, if you're a Moor and you're with other governments, put your government there. Because as Moors, we are many nations among the nations, okay? There are other valid Moorish governments out there. We honor all of them, okay, as long as they're not corporations, because there are a few of those, okay? That's just that's the problem we're having now. So if your Moorish government is claiming to be a government and you're a corporation, corporations can't govern. That's the rules. Okay? All right. So they're occupying our land pursuant to the Treaty of Peace and Friendship 1786 and 1836 and the American Mandate for the Land, previously held in the United Nations Trusteeship. That means all the way back till time immemorial is when these liens are valid for. This true bill in commerce has been executed pursuant to the following UCCs that govern the private secured first-party creditor. Charges are also calculated pursuant to the fraud and other violations committed against the Moorish American nationals at North America, as well as indebtedness for debt engaged into before the said Constitution and for occupying the land of the Moorish American Nationals. Now, a little there is no statute of limitations on fraud. So if they've been defrauding us from birth with the birth certificates, we're charging them for that too. Okay? So and if it's, you know, for I'm charging for my great grandmother because you defrauded her too. Okay? That's why the numbers are so high. Okay? And then the indebtedness for debts engaged into before the said Constitution, that language comes directly from the Constitution, which most of our language does come directly from the Constitution or the treaty, because the Constitution says any debts, you're still responsible for them. Any debts before the Constitution was written, because the treaty was written before the Constitution. You're still responsible for that. Foreign people, foreigners who've come here to our land to do commerce, you're still responsible for that. So yes, you're heavily indebted to the Moors. Okay? Charges, let's see. The said treaty is the attached Library of Congress certified publication, and that's the title of it right there. The public statutes at large. Okay. This treaty is the one, it's our treaty. It is the Treaty of 1786-1836, Treaty of Peace and Friendship. And we have a certified copy. It's certified by the Library of Congress, and that's the copy that we use. We enclose that with our mailings, our parcels that we send. So when we send our liens, we also include in that a copy of the treaty, a copy of the Moorish American Consulate Notice of Existence. We also send a copy, and we've just recently started putting in the Declaration of Trust. I'll show you some of those documents, okay? You need to know what those documents are, how they work, how they're helping, and how they affect you and your trust and your status as well, because all of that is important when it comes to the Moors and what's happening when we're pulled over and violated. They're automatically trying to build a trust. Okay? Okay. All right. So let's go up a little bit further. Okay. So again, it was signed and sealed by the Library of Congress, the acting. Again, you know, they copy everything we do. So when you see a stamp and a seal, they got that from us. We've been, okay? So they learned that from us. And that's why we tell all Moors, get yourself your stamps and seals. Get your own stamps and seals so that you can stamp and seal and sign your own documents, okay? Charges are additionally calculated pursuant to all writs and affidavits, statements at law, statements of truth in law, amity, trade, and commerce, filed by the Moorish American Nationals, where the above-mentioned debtors have caused injury to the estate of the secured first-party creditor at any and all times on the land pursuant to the said treaty, okay? So if you have affidavits that you've sent, a lot of times we will send a writ or an affidavit when they violate us, much like I did with the Federal Way Corporation when they violated me several times, actually. But I sent them writs and affidavits when they sent out war rants to a mailing location, which they weren't even talking to me because it's all in capital letters, and that's not me. I'm not a corporation. So I sent them our writs and affidavits to that effect, telling them that they're not talking to me, and that we're going to clear this matter up, and then I'm going to lien them on top of that, which I did. And now the police station is up for sale here. So, but nobody's going to be able to buy it. Can't buy it. So there's no money. But we're going to fix that too. That's all about the Moors. All right. So, first party creditor, let's see. Proof of service of each writ and affidavit is attached. We have, if you don't have proof of a writ or an affidavit, in other words, if you don't have tracking numbers for writs and affidavits, we have them, and you can use ours. And all ours is we have the tracking numbers and the dates of receipt of writs and affidavits that we have sent to everyone from Donald Trump, who we have confirmed receipt that he received our writs and affidavits, Jeff Sessions when he was in his corporation office, and then I shudder to say the word office, that's not even the right word, Richard Michael Pompeo, who is, in all capital letters, the U.S. Department of State Secretary of State, who's been moved to the CIA recently. We have proof that all of those received our documents, our writs and affidavits, and the notice of existence of the Moorish American Consulate and our government. And we also have proof that all of those doing business as governors have received them. Okay? And we have that proof. It's on the public record. And the public record is the MoorishAmericanConsulate.org website. Okay? That's the public record for us because their public records have a tendency, public records whenever they feel like it. And we're going to put a stop to that too because we're going to continue to lien them until they do what they're supposed to do. Okay? So again, we have proof of service of writs and affidavits if you'd like that. But most of you are pretty competent, and I can't say pretty competent. You all are just really kicking ass, to be honest with you, because this whole thing is falling. Their stuff is falling apart, and ours is falling into place because of the demonstrations that you're doing. Even if you just say one time, I'm a Moorish American national, that's a demonstration, okay? So, again, writs and affidavits, if you need proof of service, we have that available. And any of our documents, any of the things that I refer to are on the Moorish American Consulate website, okay? There's one document introduced today that's not there yet, but it will be up there in the coming days, okay? Now, yes, our estate has been injured. They've caused injury to much of our estate in terms of the treatment that we have received here on our own land. And we do have remedy for that. This is remedy. And again, it's taking about 90 days for the writs to take effect on these corporations. But we see the effects all around us. That's what's causing all of this turmoil that you're seeing, where these corporations are bankrupt and can't pay people. Hey, our children have lost a lot of time with us that they could have had with us because we were violated and things like that. So, you know, yes, some people are going to be without work because we've been violated, but that's the only way we can stop the violation, okay? So they're going to have to just hang in there until whoever it is that's at the head of their corporation gets themselves back in alignment with the treaty and the Constitution and treats the Moors in the manner that we should be treated on our own land, which is we just want you to observe the law, the treaty and the Constitution, not your codes and statutes, but the treaty and the Constitution, okay? Now, creditors' notice against the liable parties is the judgment. This is the beauty of our liens, that this is the part I absolutely love, is that we did not have to go through any of their fraudulent corporate courts in order for these liens to be valid. When we file them, that is the judgment, okay? Our notice to them is the judgment. When we tell you you did something and you violated the Constitution, and you violated the treaty, and you violated the Declaration of Independence, which 9 times out of 10, you're violating all 3 of them at the same time. When we tell you that, that's the judgment. You did that was not the way that the nobility is supposed to be treated. Okay? We allowed you to come here. We allowed you to use the goods and the resources of our land to help your children. And this is the treatment that we get? No, that is not the treatment that we get. So therefore, you're going to be leaned. And, you know, again, some are not going to be able to feed their children. But, you know, our children are missing out all day, every day because of the violations. But when everyone gets in line with the treaty and the Constitution, then everybody's good. But the Moors have to be good first, because it's our resources that are being hampered here and used. Okay? Now, creditor's notice against the liable parties is a judgment. Res judicata and stare decisis. So res judicata means the judgment rests. Okay? That's supreme law of the land. When the Supreme Court, before it became a corporation, when the Supreme Court was doing the rulings and things like that, and they were lawfully in alignment with the treaty and the Constitution where the Moors are concerned, that's res judicata. That means the judgment rests. It's not a judgment if it's a corporate meeting or a tax meeting, which is what those corporate courts are, or a war tribunal, which is by the, because it's a war name. Those are war names. We're not at war. We're at peace, so we're not going there. Okay? Stare decisis, that means that the decision has been made and it's not going to change. You cannot come now and overturn supreme law of the land. Stare decisis, the decision stays as is. And you can look at it all day and it's still not going to change. Right of the secured party creditor. We have rights as secured party creditors that no one else has. In other words, again, their liens take second place. And that's, it doesn't matter how long they've had their lien filed and all of that. They can put lien on top of lien. They can file 1,000 liens. When our lien shows up, all other liens take second place. Again, we have every right to do that. And we are, in fact, exercising all of our rights at this time and at all points in time. Additionally, this claim is filed pursuant to common law claims, writ of plebin, international commercial claims, aboriginal and imperial claims, antiquitous claims. And this is a filing. All of our liens are filings to encumber land, property, real estate, and all commercial transactions by the debtor. And that means all principals and agents. And that's also pursuant to UCC 9 subsection 607, collection and enforcement by a secured party. That means we have every right to both collect and enforce any indebtedness that's due us. Okay? If you're indebted to the Moors, get ready to pay. We're competent and awake, and we are going to fulfill all that our ancestors put in place for us. Okay? UCC 9-203, attachment and enforceability of security interest. That means we're attaching our interest onto anything you're claiming. Okay? Whatever you're claiming, don't get attached to it, because we got that. That's ours. Okay? And it gets liened quicker if you violate it. So you can be attached to it all day long and sit over there in the corner and be quiet, and that might have you hold on to it a little bit longer. But if you're violating and you're just willy-nilly on our land doing whatever you want to do here at North America, South America, Central America, and the adjoining islands, know that you won't have it long. We're coming for our, and you will not violate us in the process. Secured parties' right to take possession after default. This is important. UCC 9, subsection 609. Now, the secured parties' right to take, that means that anything that we lien, we possess it afterwards. And we actually possessed it beforehand, but this is just our putting it out there that, yes, okay, we'll go ahead and take that now. There are some other processes that need to be put in place before you go and, like, for example, I've liened, say, for example, I've liened a policy enforcer station. Before I go to that station and take possession of it, there are some other things that needed to be in place before I do that. And those things we'll go over here shortly in just a moment. Okay, but one of those things is, and this is something that the Moors need to know and begin to put into action right away, and that is we have the authority to draw up a title, not a deed, but a title to anything that's on our land. We need to start drawing up titles, and we have a template for that. And we don't charge for any of our documents. So if there's anybody saying they're with the Moorish American Consulate and they're charging you, they're not with us. Okay? Our freedom is not for sale. So we have a document. We have a template for the titles, and you can draw up the titles. It's on our letterhead, and it is in affidavit form, and we already know that any unanswered affidavit stands as law, or unrebutted affidavit stands as law. And that's why we do everything in affidavit form, because we want it to be where, you know, if they decide that they don't want to say anything back with regard to the affidavit, then it's the law. And it's the law whenever we say it's the law. If we say, okay, you got 24 hours to respond to that, or you have 6 weeks, or you have 6 months, or you have until eternity to respond to it, and you don't respond to it, it's the law as soon as we say it. Okay? And so, again, secured parties' right to take possession after default. That includes the Social Security numbers that they have, because those are their debtor transmitting utilities. But when you lien that social and you lien that straw man name, then they're definitely not going to be able to bill SETA KV until they pay you. And we don't want their fiat. We want gold and silverback lawful currency. But the chances of them coming up with 100 trillion in lawful gold and silverback currency is none. They're not ever going to do that. Never going to happen. Okay? So even then, we take possession of that so that they can't use it to transmit their debt. Okay? They're the only ones indebted, not us. All contracts with the United States Corporation Company are canceled effective September 11, 2018. We made that clear. In August, we made that clear. But we gave it September 11, 2018 as the date that the lien was in full effect and that all contracts worldwide, the United States Corporation Company, are canceled. That means all other nations of the earth don't owe them a dime. And that's another reason why they're having a few problems right now, is because everyone knows they don't have to pay them anymore. And we're not using Federal Reserve notes, debt notes anyway. Okay? And then in this, new contracts with the Moorish National Republic federal government for the debtors are as follows. So we're basically taking over the companies and giving them new directives when we lien them. Okay? And again, some of these liens, we can do a termination statement on certain corporations. Okay, we can do that. But we're not going to if they're not going to get in alignment and begin to give the Moors the service that we deserve here. And we're not going to pay to be on our own land. when you all have made, these corporations have made money for decades upon decades. Some of them since the 17 and 1800s, some of these corporations have made money on our land and haven't paid us a dime to be here. Well, that stops. You know, as soon as we wake up, that stops and we begin to make we're going to make new contracts for you so that you have a clear understanding of what your obligations to us are. And all corporations are, in fact, obligated to us. And when I say corporations, that's people with corporate names, too. So that's your neighbor down the street whose name is in all caps, and they don't, you know, they're obligated to you as well because they're on your land. If their ancestors, and I hesitate to use the word ancestors, forefathers or their relatives came in through Ellis Island, then they're indebted to you. They're indebted to the Moors because they're occupying our land also. And they haven't been paying us, you see. So we're bringing all of that into fruition now, okay? About the neighbors and all of that is they'll find some relief in what we're doing because the Service Corporation is taxing them like crazy too. But once they get in alignment with the treaty and the Constitution, everything that they do is going to be better as long as they treat the Moors the right way. Okay? So all debtors named in the above have current contracts with the Moorish American Nationals at North America. So each declared Moor, know this, all corporations already have contracts with you. Those contracts are the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, 1786-1836, the Constitution for the United States, 1789 and 1791, and now this UCC financing statement whose document number is, and this is the certified or registered receipt number that you would put here. Okay? And then we give them certain edicts. And the edicts must be sensible, intelligent, competent edicts. And not only that, they must be applicable to all Moors. So, for example, when I gave Waste Management their lien and gave them their new contract the terms of their contract, I told them that they have to clean up all trash around our trash bins, if there's any out there, because I know here at the consulate, sometimes when the trash bins are out there, birds and crows will come and take the trash, and it will be strewn all over the place. And we don't want that. We want our land to be clean, and we want it to be well kept. So pick up the trash around those, and then once a month, we want our trash bins to be cleaned out. Have your guys to rinse them out for once a month, okay? And just let us know when that day is, and we'll make sure that the trash bins are where they're supposed to be, which is in our backyard. So again, we can tell them, and even when I told them that, I said, okay, you have to do this for all Moors, not just Light Tajiri Bay. You have to do it for all the Moors, because we're all part and parcel of our government. Okay? Now, the terms of your contract with the Moorish National Republic federal government, the Moorish American Consulate, and the Moorish American National is that we are to be respected as the secured first-party creditors at all times. And now the new heirs of, and we're not the new heirs because we've been the heirs and we put their corporation name there. So whenever I did a lien for example, Microsoft, I liened Microsoft. Well, we're the heirs to Microsoft now. All Moors are. Okay? So anyone who had heirship or thought that they were the heirs to Microsoft and all of its intellectual property and all of its property, period, we're it. We have it in writing. and they've been occupying our land and using our resources to become the behemoths that it is, and we want what is rightfully ours. So we've placed a lien on them, and we've decided that, okay, we're the new heirs to all, and this is all Moors. And now we have some other processes that we're putting in place so that we can begin to operate in a manner that says in no uncertain terms that we're the heirs to all of that, to all that. So, and we need as many more to be leaning as possible, okay? So, okay, especially, though, the corporate courts and those false, fake judges, lean them. And the policy enforcers, lean them. And people might say, well, what about their children? Their children won't be able to eat if you lean them. Well, they might want to think about that before they violate the Moors. Think about your children before you pull us over in the jurisdiction of our ancestral inherited estate. Think about all of that, and then go your way, because you're really not supposed to be on our streets anyway. We told you to get off our streets. It's supposed to be sheriffs and military. That was the agreement way back in the 1800s, okay? And that's at our behest. That's to keep us safe. It's not to tell us what to do and control us. It's to keep us safe, because we're upholding the economies of the earth, okay? So, again, you've got contracts. Stick with your contract. You've got first-party creditors. At all times, we're supposed to be respected and treated well and protected and served as the Moorish American nationals that we are, okay? All intellectual property and holding, that's ours. Contract particulars are to be discussed as soon as this notification is confirmed received by the said corporation, okay? And this next part is really important. They've already done this in China, which is actually Manchuria. They've already implemented where they started taking down any, because believe it or not, the banner of amity and commerce, they put that thing all over the place. That's what they call the American flag. That's not the American flag. That's a banner of amity and commerce, okay? The American flag is a red flag with a green 5-pointed pentagram, a star, 5-pointed star in the middle. That's the American flag. That is the flag of the de jure American people, okay? So the only flag that will fly at North America, Morocco, this is ancient Morocco, is the Moorish American flag, red with a 5-pointed green star. All banners of amity and commerce are outlawed and are commanded to be removed immediately. Why is that? Well, those banners of amity and commerce were used to enslave us, and since the land belongs to us now and our flag is flying, they're going to have to remove theirs. Okay? They're going to have to remove it because they've breached their contracts with us. If the contracts that allow the banner of amity and commerce to fly are the Constitution and the treaty and the Declaration of Independence and the Articles of the Confederation. All of those are one document. The Library of Congress will tell you they're one document. On the cover sheet of our treaty that we received from the Library of Congress, it says they're all one work. And if you violate them and you breach them repeatedly, you still haven't paid us a dime now. And since those have been breached, you have to take down your banner of amity and commerce. Our flag is the only one that will fly. Okay? All indigenous people who are not of the Moorish nation, birthright and bloodline, are subjects of the Moorish American nationals. 1954 letter by the Secretary of State on citizenship and expatriation in Morocco states that all who cannot prove foreign nationality are Moorish subjects ipso jure. So that means that you'll need to acknowledge that you're a Moorish subject ipso jure, and that you will need to pledge allegiance to the Moorish American flag, okay? And then you will need to follow the Constitution and the Treaty and the Articles of Confederation and the Declaration of Independence like your life depends on it. Period. That's what's happening now. Okay? All immigrants who do not pledge sincere allegiance to the Moorish flag will be arrested and detained and or deported. Okay? And you have to decide where you all are going to go because you're not indigenous to any land. And I'm not being, that's not anything other than the truth. All who pledge allegiance to the Moorish National Republic federal government and the Moorish American flag will be made subjects and are mandated to protect and serve the Moorish American nationals upon our land. And I don't think I have to go into any detail there. It's pretty self-explanatory. Now, whatever property it is that we lien, the property with all acreage is now the property of the Moorish National Republic federal government, the Moorish American Consulate, and the Moorish American National. The property is to be turned over to, and you can put your appellation there, with the keys and codes to all of the buildings no later than, and then specify a date. Now, again, we're working our way through these processes, so possession, this year we're focused solely on, not solely on possession, but possession is going to be a huge part of this whole year, possession of our estate. So we're putting some processes in place so that we can do that safely, so that we can do it peacefully, and so that we can do it in a manner that is befitting nobility. No, they're not going to want, but we have to put the right paperwork in place so that the proper notifications happen. And when those proper notifications happen, the right people show up in order to assist the Moor in gaining possession of the property. And those people are the sheriff and, if needs be, the military. And again, we're putting those processes in place as we speak. So nobody move fast. Let us get the processes in place first, and of course we're going to give them. And we have them. We have them. We're perfecting them. This is stuff that should have been done 100 or so years ago, and we won't. But we're getting it done now because the ancestors say it's time. So let's keep working together. Let's all be safe, because this is actually what we're working on is actually de jure into our proper person 100% safely and peacefully, so that we can fully enjoy our estate. That's the goal, okay? So we want to be safe, we want to be secure, we want to be well, we want to be competent. And again, if we're competent, when we're competent, let me say that because we're competent and we're going to continue to get that way to increase our competence. When we're competent, they have no claim whatsoever, and they have to turn everything over to us, okay? And that's what these classes are all about, is us getting competent, staying cool, so that no one makes any sudden moves and gets, we want as many people to not be molested. And the way for us to do that is stay cool, learn the processes, become competent, and then we move as a unit onto the possession of our estate. Okay? And if all of us are doing it, which is happening now anyway, so many Moors are demonstrating right now that it's just unbelievable. We're overwhelming their system. And that's the point. The point is there are more of us than there are of you, and we are the nobility of the land, and it's going to be that way from now on. Everything here belongs to us. Peacefully. We're not going to start World War for over our stuff. It's a breakfast fight. A breakfast fight is pass me the butter. No, I'll pass it to you when I feel like it. That. Okay? So specify the date and then put the processes in place, and we'll tell you what those processes are in just a minute. The Moorish American government will begin using the property at that time. Anyone who obstructs, hinders, encumbers, speaks against, or resists the mandates of this affidavit will be seized by the Grand Army of the Republic, formerly known as the United States Military, and detained in the jail cell indefinitely. And then put your Moorish American appellation here. The Moorish National Republic federal government and the Moorish American Nationals are the creditors. And put the corporation name here, Microsoft or, Nike, Tesla, whatever other corporations, all those, the NFL, the CIA, the FBI are the debtors to the Moors. Okay? As with all property at Northwest America, if at any time a Moorish American national should send by mail, deliver, hand, send, or state a notification of any property at North America, along with providing a copy of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, 1786, 1836, and a copy of the Moorish American Consulate Notice of Existence, you are to vacate the premises at once without question or hesitation. The Moorish National Republic federal government will provide remedy to you at our discretion and discussion. We remain in honor and governing accordingly. Okay? And at our discretion means if we say that you have to leave our land completely and we're deporting you, then that's what happens. If we say, okay, tiny houses, because y'all like tiny houses, there's a tiny house community on the west side or the south side. You can go there. And from there, you will observe and obey the Constitution, the treaty, the Articles of the Confederation of Independence, and you will do so in and honor the Moors. Okay? All utilities and living services at Morocco are at no charge or feudal fee to the Moorish American National. The Moorish National Republic federal government is the only government, period. There is no other. There never has been. The Moors have always been the only government at North America. That's why those other people call themselves the administration, because they've been administering our estate, and they know that. They've been administering our estate, but as it stands here now today, we, the Moors, are the creditors. We're the administrators. We are trustees one to another. Okay? We're the executors. We're the heirs. We're the creditors. We're the beneficiaries of our own estate. All of this is ours. We got this from here. Okay? We don't need anybody else to speak for us, and we're not going to have anyone represent us. We present ourselves. So attorneys, and that's in all capital letters and in quotes and all that stuff, and kill brackets and all that. Attorneys, administrative clerks calling themselves or doing business as judges, policy enforcers, all of you, no one speaks for us. We speak for ourselves. No one represents us. Okay? No, ourselves. So don't be trying to force attorneys on people when that's British and we're not British and we're not Christian. Okay? Some of us are Christians. I'm not a Christian, but some are. And the Moors can be whoever they want to be, but you will not force an attorney on us. That's British, and we already know what their deal is. They want fiat, which means nothing to us. Okay? Let's see. Only gold and silver are to be used as currency in payment of debts. Fiat currency, Federal Reserve debt notes are outlawed forever. You will not charge the Moorish American Nationals any currency, money, or otherwise, as you are the debtors and the Moorish American Nationals are the creditors. Part 5, check only if applicable and check only one box. We don't check their boxes, so we put it outside of the box. Collateral is held in a trust, okay? And that's where you would put the national trust with this document, and then if you have your own Moorish allodial trust, you put that with it. Do not put a trust that has an EIN or a TIN or a social security number or a business corporate number or any number that's issued by a W-8 bin number or anything like that that's issued by the service corporation. Do not put that trust with this, because all you're doing when you do that is saying keep the collateral. You can keep it, because those are debtor transmitting utilities. Your trust must be allodial, meaning it's not attached to any of those numbers. And the national trust is not attached to any of those numbers. It is allodial and it is international, and in fact, it's universal. And universal documents don't need to lower themselves and descend into corporate status, okay? And then number 6A, debtor is a transmitting utility. Social security number, transmitting utility. EIN, TIN, W-8 bin, all of that, transmitting utility. Debtor transmitting utility. So why would you call yourself the first party secured creditor and then use a debtor transmitting utility? You wouldn't. That belongs to the debtors, okay? And then here, 6B, check only if applicable and only check one box. We don't check any of these. Some Moors check this non-UCC filing. Moors can do what they want to do. We can do what we want to do, and it still has to be honored. But I don't check either one of those, because we do UCC 1 filings. And I'd like for you to study the difference between those two, a non-UCC filing versus a UCC 1 filing, and you'll see why we chose to do a UCC 1 versus a non-UCC 1. Alternative designation, if applicable. Someone asked me about this recently, the lessor, lessee, consignee, consignor, seller, buyer, veiler, licensee, and licensor. We're none of that. We're none of that. So none of that is applicable. It says if applicable, it's not. Okay? We are the first party, secured party, creditor. And none of these are creditors. If you're a lessee or lessor, that means you don't own anything and you don't have rights to anything. You're leasing it from someone else. So that's not a first party creditor. That's not a secured creditor. Consignee or consignor, that means you sign something over to someone, but you still are not the creditor. Seller, buyer, if you're selling it or buying it, then that means that someone has to come in and underwrite it with some financing. That means you're not the creditor either. That's why all of our rights are unalienable and inalienable. Okay? And then bailor, that's not us. Because that indicates that there is a bond at play. And we don't do bonds. Okay? A bond is a debt instrument. Licensee, licensor, if you're licensing something, that means that you've registered a number with the service corporation. That's why we don't do licenses, because that's their instrument, and it is a debtor transmitting utility. They even take driver's license numbers and bundle them up and sell them on the stock market. Okay? Optional filer reference data. And you can put this in or you cannot put it in. We put it in all of ours, and then we add whatever else we want to put there. The governing principle does extend to the League of Nations American Mandate for the Land. That is the document that the Prophet Noble Jew Ali was given when he went to Havana, Cuba in 1928. He was given that document, and that document told him that all of the land had been mandated, that someone else was going to control it for a while, and then in 2004, I believe, is when that land mandate ended. Okay, and then they did it for another 5 years because we still weren't all the way awake, and something like that. So now that land mandate is no longer any good. Okay, so we're in control of the land now. It was held in Geneva, Switzerland in 1948. The United Nations American Mandate for the Land held in the United Nations trusteeship, and those are in fact the same document, except that one of them started out with the League of Nations, and then when the United Nations took over and subjugated the League of Nations, they took that same land mandate and put it into their paperwork, okay, and into their trusteeship. All fraud. And the Amendment 13, with its 20 sections, of the Constitution for the United States of America, ratified November 18, 1865 by 3/4 of the several states. So even when I called the Library of Congress in my early research last year of, finding out about the 13th Amendment with its 20 sections, even the person there who was a young Albion, she said that if you look at it, it never passed. And I said, that's not true, actually. It was passed by the states. Okay? We do have those documents to go with your lien, which is the title to the land, the Declaration of Trust, of the all land in the Western Hemisphere as well as all land on Earth. It belongs to the Moors. Can you hear me still? Am I still coming through?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay. And we also have, and here's the thing, you all have to create your trust and then reference the trust number that is the national trust. The national trust covers everybody, and then your trust covers you, your loved ones, and your property, your conveyances, your domiciles, all of that. Now, as we begin to move through this year and possess the property, the way we are going to do that is this. We're going to, now that we have the trust, which is the worldwide trust of that means all land and all natural resources on Earth are ours. Then the trust of the North, South, Central, and adjoining islands of America, we have that trust as well. Yes, that declaration of trust as well. And then we have the title to the North, South, and Central, and all of it. We have the title to that land. You're going to need those 3 documents plus your own trust, okay, your own, and it's really just your declaration of trust. And when you get ready to start possessing property, the way you do it is this: you take those documents plus your nationality documents, plus you want to put that. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. You want to put that property in your trust before you go to possess it. You should have it already on paper in your trust before you go to possess it. And then what you do is the title to it, the declaration of trust, those 3 layers of trust, of declarations of trust, your nationality documents, the Moorish American Consulate Notice of Existence, because that notice of, there is a court that has already ordered the things that you're possessing. And then you're going to send those documents out to everybody that's involved in that whole process, okay? And sending those documents out to everybody means you go to the assessor's website and the tax assessor website for the county that they're claiming, that corporate county where the corporate address is located. You notify everybody whose name is on the tax assessor document for that location. So you're going to mail all of them out. The declaration of trust that shows that that property is in your trust. You're going to also send them again the declaration of trust of the nation and of the Moorish Divine and National Movement. You're also going to send them the title. We have the title to all land. Send that, as well as you're going to make a title to that location, to that property. Okay, it's going to be on Moorish National Republic Federal Government letterhead, which matches all the other. Or if you're with a different nation, a different Moorish nation, because you got to be of the bloodline and birthright for this to even be done. And then you're going to draw up a title for that GPS, not GPS location, but the latitude and longitude. Right, the latitude and longitude, and you can even put that near, and then you do the kill brackets as near this republic, zip exempt. You can put that as well. All of that goes in your trust, and then you create the title to it. Okay, and we have the title templates. All of that gets sent out to the sheriff, the policy enforcers, anybody that somebody might pick up the phone and say, hey, somebody's at this property and they shouldn't be there. Okay, we're going to notify all those people first that we're taking possession of this property because we have possession of it already. Possession is 9/10 of the law. Did you know that?
Islam.
That's why foreclosures are fraud, because the only way they get you out is they have to get you to abandon the property. Okay? But they've been doing some fraud there too. So anyway, that's how we're going to proceed this year, but we're going to do it as the government. We're going to do it en masse. They already know that this is going to happen because they have already said that there's going to be the largest transfer of wealth in the history of the world. Well, we got that. That's us. That's all this that we're doing. Go ahead. You had a question?
Yeah, can you repeat? This is Shakim from Candyland. Can you repeat the documents again? I was just preoccupied.
Sure.
Yes, please.
So you want to start from the highest level and go all the way to, and they're all on the same level, but you want to go from the document that covers the largest landmass all the way down to your personal trust. So you start with, and we have this on, it's going to be on the website, the MoorishAmericanConsulate.org website. It will be the Declaration of Trust of the Moorish Divine and National Movement of the World, okay? Then there's going to be the Declaration of Trust of the Moorish National Republic Federal Government. Then there's going to be your Declaration of Trust that says, this is my Declaration of Trust. I am Light Tajiri Bay, Moorish American National, stating who you are. And then you can do a declaration of trust for each property that you're going to possess. And when you do your declaration of trust, you put the latitude and longitude of that property, and then you can put the republic mailing location of that property. Do not put an address, put the republic, so it's going to be near, like if it was a consulate, it would be care of, mailing location, 911, Southwest 314th Place, near Federal Way Republic, zip exempt. Or near Federal Way Republic, Washington, zip exempt. And you put, hold on just a second, and you'll put that in your declaration of trust. And then, along with that, you're going to do a title. And the title is going to match the declaration of trust, okay, for that property. And when you do the title, it's going to be, again, an affidavit of title, okay? And an unrebutted affidavit stands as law, period. Okay? That's why everything that we do is in affidavit form. Okay? And so those documents along with, so that's 3 trust documents that you're going to have. That's 3 layers of protection.
Wow. Yep.
Then you're going to have the title. And then you're going to have the Moorish American Consulate Notice of Existence. That's the court piece, because we have the Moorish American Consular Courts. That means that the Moors have their own courts, period. And then it's going to be a copy of the treaty. A copy of the treaty. That's going to cover the corporate piece. The copy of the treaty that's signed by the Library of Congress. Go ahead.
Could you repeat the second last one again, the existence?
The Moorish American Consulate Notice of Existence. Okay. That's on the website, and the reason you put that in there's several reasons. One reason you put it in there is because we have that notice of existence, we have proof that it has been received by everyone. All of the de facto governors, Donald Trump, Mike Pompeo, Jeff Sessions, many policy enforcers, that thing has gone out all over our land. And I'm talking about from Canaan land all the way to South America.
Yep.
That's right. That's our empress in Canaan land, Canada. Corporate Canada. Well, it used to be corporate Canada until she showed up. So yeah. Okay. And then when you do it that way, that and a copy of the treaty. Okay? Now, and again, you're going to notify the sheriff, because they're actually going to meet you out there. You're going to make an appointment for them to meet you out there so that you can take lawful possession of the place.
Yep.
And plan a date that's far enough in advance after you've notified them. Be sure you have tracking numbers of your notifications, and then call them and say, hey, I've notified you. I've also notified the military. So we're going to notify the provost marshal. We're also going to notify anybody that's on that tax assessor document that's claiming to own the place when they don't own anything on our land. And then we're going to say on March the 1st, Sheriff, I want you and 2 of your deputies to meet me out there. Me and some of the Moors are going to come, and we're going to possess the property. Now, if it's just you, because sometimes I'm going to be by myself, too, when I go do stuff like this. But I know for sure that if I lawfully notify everyone, especially after leaning the place, because you can lean it, too, just to slap another piece of paper on there, you know, that they can't refute, because our liens are affidavits as well. Now, come on. How competent is that?
Very much so.
Very
you see?
competent.
And when we show that we are competent heirs, we deserve to possess the land. Our ancestors will give it to us on a platter, just like that. Okay?
Islam Light, I got a question for you, Brother Phoenix.
Yes.
Could you please, thank you so much for all that you've been partying with this particular class. I would like for you to go back through something that you mentioned about 15, 20 minutes ago when you talked about the national trust that you found, I guess, with the Organization of American States that was granted to Noble Drew Ali, and the fact that it expired in 2004. Could you go through all that part again? You know what I'm referring to?
Yes, and that only takes a second or two. If you go onto the internet and look up land mandates or American land mandate, it will take you to several different pages, but one of the pages that it will take you to will describe how in 1948 the Europeans, because we were not involved in this, the Europeans said, okay, we feel that that the indigenous people are not competent to manage their own land. So Europe and the UK, the Queen, and Spain, you all can be the land. You can manage the land that is Canada and Britain, and Service Corporation, you can manage the land that is North America and South America, and then France and I think it was, who else was it? It was like four of them, four European Union corporations that said, okay, we'll.
Went out again, sis.
That's Miguel's fault, man. I mean, that's Phoenix L's. That's
Phoenix is innocent. Phoenix is innocent.
I'm not even surprised. You just not even surprised. She was talking about some heavy stuff right there.
That's exactly why they did it.
I'm not surprised.
She was.
Islam family, somebody's asking a question.
Yeah. Not a question, but I just wanted to let you know that when I mailed the documentation off to you yesterday, I went inside the post. I went inside the post office, and the lady at the desk ended up putting a zip code on it.
Yeah, they do that because that. Yeah, don't worry about it. Just as long as you didn't do it.
Nah, I didn't do it.
And if you do it, just make sure you put it in the brackets. That's all.
I got a question. Yes, I got a question. Is it possible before the next you can show us how those seals go on a package to take to the post office? Because evidently I'm not doing something right.
No, they're obstructing right now, so.
No, I need to make sure I know how to do it myself, and I can put them in check.
Islam, brother Similar, I got you on that. I got your back. I'll get you what you need.
Islam, thank you.
I need a picture to see how the package
You're welcome.
Still can't hear you, sister.
I didn't say anything. Oh, you talking about like?
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
You should be able to hear me now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. They do obstruct as soon as we start talking about the fraud that they've done. So they booted me straight off my phone. So that wasn't even the program. That was my phone. So anyway, but I'm going to tell on them. I'm going to keep telling on them. So in 1948, the Europeans got together and said, we're going to put this corporation over this part of land. We're going to put a different corporation over this part of the land. And that's the mandates for the land. And we're going to make it so that, you know, they said that they were going to be improving the land, which they did do that. They put in airports and roads and buildings, and they, you know, did a lot of stuff, technology and all that stuff. But in the interim, they were hypothecating and subrogating the entire time. So that is the part that Noble Drew Ali, he received the actual documentation that said these corporations have the mandate to increase the viability of the land. In other words, all they did was increase the value of our estate.
And stole it.
There were some other things that they were supposed to do too. They were supposed to put in coast high speed rail and all of that, and they didn't do that. They took a lot of that money and, you know, and put military bases in different places and all that other stuff. So anyway, that mandate ended in 2004, I believe. In fact, I'm almost positive it's 2004. And they were supposed to then vacate the premises. But instead of vacating, they thought we're going to subrogate and we're going to call ourselves Americans and we're going to call them the citizen and then we'll take over. That's what all this is about. Okay? Pure subrogation of our identity. So they're going around the earth telling everybody they're Americans when really they were just U.S. citizens. And, you know, they started doing things in our names that we would never have done. Okay? And that's the thing about where we are now and where we're going. Yes, we're going to take back all of our stuff. We're going to evict some of them because they're in our, you know, they're in our little space. They're in our space. We're going to evict some of them. That has to happen. Okay? But at the end of the day, we are love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. So we're going to provide remedy. We will give them, you know, a tiny house somewhere, or they can, you know, go. A lot of them like living in the woods. Go live in, if you want to live in the woods, you're free to do that as long as you're not harming any animals or anything like that, because we love the animals too. So
Right.
That's where we are right now with the land mandate piece.
I don't want to get in the woods.
That's it. And some of them don't have to take on water like the prophet said. Some of them won't have to take on water because they're not going to do right. They don't want to do. Some of them don't want to do right. They don't want to follow the Constitution. They don't want to follow the treaty. Okay, get out of here. You got to go. Bye. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice on your way out.
That's
just always Guantanamo Bay. There's always Guantanamo Bay they can visit.
That's it. Are there any other questions besides Scimitar? Because Scimitar will take up the entire time asking all the questions, and no one will get a chance to answer.
I got another
question. I got one question. One question.
Yes.
Is it possible? Yes. Do you remember the? I know you're going to re-upload this. As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to ask that question. So I'll just wait till you re-upload it.
I am. It'll be back on YouTube, and then we'll put it on Facebook too, so everybody can.
Does anyone have the process to receive conveyances?
Yes, this is great. So we're going to do the same process with the conveyances, where we're going to put those 3 layers of trust documents. The conveyance that you want, just go and get the VIN number. Go to the car lot, get the VIN number, put that conveyance in your trust. Create a title for that conveyance, and then. And here's the thing too, and this is some things that are coming into the works. It's not complete yet, but at some point, very, 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 very soon, we're going to have our own money. It's going to be lawful gold and silver currency. Because we have to have that. And we're the only ones who can do it. So we're at a very, very in a very short time. You all are going. Those who have MAC numbers, because that's all I can, at this point. And that's a plug, but it's all Moors. All Moors. Because all Moors are, yeah. But of course, I'm gonna plug the consulate. The MAC number is the Moorish American Consulate. It just means that we have proof that you're a Moorish American national. We have your photo, and we have a declaration that, hey, I'm a Moor. Okay.
No, I meant you repeat I get so excited when you start saying all the other beautiful things you're saying. But you said the VIN number and put that in the trust, and what else? Yes.
So take the VIN number, as the make and model, and you put that in your trust, and then you'll want to take a gold or silver piece, just in case. Okay. And that's something you can get at a pawn shop. They have the little gold and silver coins from the 1930s and 40s and 50s. You can take one of those. And again, we're going to do it competently. And we're going to do it en masse. In other words, we're all going to do it around the same time period. Okay. So that way we can't be told no. If in 1 week 3,000 of us show up at car dealerships saying we are who we are and we have the titles to these and we come in peace and we want that one. And we've liened your car dealership, so we actually we can have all of them, but we chose that one, or we'd like to order one.
Islam.
That's where we're going. Okay?
Thank you.
It's light.
So,
can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Will it be necessary to have our identification card with us at that time? I mean, would that be imperative when we go and take that action?
Part of being competent in what we do is that we have undeniable proof and all of our documents are in order. And part of that is going to be the identification piece. Now, granted, we only have a few people that are doing Moorish IDs until we get the temples up and running and doing the right thing. So you know, as soon as you can get your Moorish ID, get it. Put the pizza off for an extra week. Moorish IDs are $35, Federal Reserve notes rather. And the only reason we're using Federal Reserve notes is because we have not been doing our job in getting the gold and silverback lawful currency on this land. That's what this is all about. So it's on its way. It's coming. But in the interim, we have to get competent on how to do these processes.
Wow.
And the processes cost us nothing but time. There's no charge for these documents, you know, so, yes.
Sister Light.
Hopefully that answers your question. Yes, it does. Thank you.
Aside internal L here. You said there's 3 layers of trust that go on these, that we have to put in place. I got the declaration of trust that's for the entire Moorish American, the main trust for everybody, and then my declaration of trust, and there was another one in there that I missed. Could you read?
It's the one for the Moorish Divine and National Movement of the World. And that one is not that one is not a necessity, but I want us to get into the habit of presenting all of that so that there's no question about who we are and what we're doing. Because here's the thing, when we are uniform in our presentation, okay, if all of us are doing the same thing and speaking with one voice, who in the hell is going to tell us no on our land?
Right.
Who's going to do that?
Right.
Nobody. Because we're competent. And that's where we're going. Okay?
Where do we get fillable templates? The fillable ones, that, you know.
They should be on the website. Go ahead. They should be on the website. But if they're not, let us know.
I only see scans on the website.
Okay. We'll get some fillable ones up there. There should be, I know the name change and the Judicial Proclamation are fillable and they're up there. The templates for this, if you can send me a text message telling me to send you the fillable template for this, for the lien process and for the trust and all of that, I'll send that to you. The number to text is 334-294-9828. Text that number and say say your appellation and then give your email address. Please send the lien template, and you'll get lien templates in your email.
Would you give that number one more time, please?
Sure. It's 334-294-9828.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. And when you send the text, give it like 24 hours or so so that all your email can be put in with the rest of them that come in, and then we'll push it all out at the same time.
Okay.
What she's trying to say is, don't sit here and call her and text her the next day that you can't be patient to get your stuff. I'm just saying, because just know she probably gets 100 text messages, so it might take her a minute to get to yours. Okay, Moors?
Sorry, Sharon. I'm sorry.
Islam.
I still got a question.
Oh yeah, I like that. That's cool. That's good. I like that. Okay, so we'll go ahead and call it quits here. Make sure that you get the title to the land, because all of that stuff is already printed up. The Service Corporation already has it. We have the tracking number. We also have in the document that has the title, you will also see it has gone to the Treasury, and we have commanded the Treasury to give each Moor $100 million in gold and silverback lawful currency. That just happened January 9th. So, again, everything that we do is being done for all Moors. So let's keep that in mind, and let's stand shoulder to shoulder as we take and repossess our land, okay?
This is love.
And let's do it peacefully and safely. We need everybody to be peaceful and faithful and safe in this whole thing, okay? So that we can enjoy our estate. We got some great stuff coming up, people. Great stuff coming up.
Great.
Our estate is ours this year.
Keep safe, sister. Keep safe.
Yes. Islam. Islam. Peace and love, everybody, and we'll have another class on the title and how to use the title. That'll be next week on Saturday at the same time. Okay.
Oh, wonderful. Peace and love.
Y'all don't hear me?
Thanks, Debbie.
Turn of the matrix.
Peace and love, everybody.
Islam light. Great class tonight.
Islam family.
Thank you for your time.
Peace and love.
Peace and love. Let
Take
the
care of
sisters
yourself,
go, y'all.
Islam lights. Oh my gosh.
Islam.
Islam.
Brother Scimitar, stay on. That's all right, brother. That's all right. Yes, I hear you, Brother Scimitar. I hear you, brother.
Did they mute me?
Because they didn't want to take
No, we hard.
Okay, your question.
Man,
You're right. I tried to put in the plug for you.
It's all right.
Y'all gonna make me come down here.
That's all right. Go ahead and ask your question.
No, I'm in Indianapolis by myself, right? I got a hell of a question to ask. And it's about
Go ahead and ask.
It's individual is trying to put this down because they're saying that the empire here don't have more power than the Morocco over there overseas. And they're trying to say that Morocco over there, the Kingdom of Morocco is the first trustee, and the United States Corporation is the second trustee. And they think we're supposed to go over there and negotiate with Morocco to be able to deal with this cat over here. I want to know, why would they say some crap like that?
Well, you know.
Okay, hold on.
Well, let me just say this. Everybody is the damn trustee until we wake up, okay? And when we wake up, we're the trustee, we're the executor, the administrator, the beneficiary, we're the claimant, we're all of that. And then we're trustees one for another. So we administer our own estate when we wake up and are competent to do so. And the thing about the competence piece is this. When we give them competent paperwork, they can't say no because we're the heirs. Period.
Okay, it's not. Empress, I understand that. I'm confident enough to understand it. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is, I'm tired of them trying to spit dirt on what y'all doing. So I'm trying to figure out.
Scimitar, hold up, Scimitar.
Hold up.
Scimitar, I'm going to encourage you to guard your ear gate so that you don't hear that stuff. Because it's not bothering me at all. Okay?
No, it ain't bothering me either.
It's bothering you because they keep dumping trash on you. You're not a trash can. Don't let them keep dumping trash on you. Tell them to go somewhere with that. Because we're going to continue the work. Okay? We're going to get our estate. We're going to be free, period.
Yeah,
anybody that don't like it can sit on the sidelines and talk trash.
What would you think they would say? That's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
That's their MO. That's what they've been doing from the beginning. And when we buy into it, we end up subject to them. Don't listen.
Yeah.
Ignore. You know the truth.
They don't exist.
And listen, they're passing you energy. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
And that affects your energy and your ability to execute properly. See, as long as we got that garbage going on in our ear, we're not going to be able to write a competent writ or affidavit. Yep. We're not going to be able to pick up the phone and talk to the sheriff when the sheriff don't want to do what we tell him to do and he know he has to do it. When we have all of that other negative energy, we can't handle that the way nobility would handle it, because we got the wrong energy circulating in our atmosphere.
Right.
So don't let people all of that. So when you see that stuff coming, just leave the area or make them leave it if they're in your area, because we got work to do. That energy is going to be, I'm telling you, that energy is going to dissipate completely here in the next few months, because it's going to dissipate one way or the other. The first way that it'll dissipate is, I don't have time to talk about you if a policy enforcer got me in handcuffs. I'm not talking about you then. I'm trying to find out how to free myself. It'll either dissipate that way or it will dissipate when competence kicks in and we start doing what we're supposed to be doing. And when we start possessing this property and possessing our estate, and we're focused on our freedom and the freedom of everyone, not just us, everyone, then do I have time to sit up and talk about you? No, I don't. Period. So then we have to decide that we're not going to let people stay in our ear like that. That's our decision. That's your decision. When they come to you, you're the one at fault if your energy is all off balance. And then you got to do extra work to get your energy back. You got to meditate and all this kind of stuff to get your energy back in line. Don't do that. Don't let them do that. That's extra work you have to do.
It's just more people to prove wrong.
Islam.
And that's the oldest trick in the book. And anybody that's played Little League understands that's called rabbit ears. You batter, behave, you know, just to get in your head. Then it makes you mess up. You can believe and know at the same time. You got to pick a side.
Absolutely.
If you don't have any solutions coming out of your mouth, I really ain't trying to hear too much.
And I think just the fact that we're helping people is cutting into a lot of people's finances that are coming up on us still being asleep too. You know, we have to be mindful about that too, because you know, it's the fact that we have paperwork that people don't have to pay for. You know, people are upset about that because they were getting $35, $50, you know. So it's
some people was getting $12 and $15 and $2,000 and $5,000 for a piece of paper.
That's right.
That to me is absolutely crazy.
I was with the Moorish Nation that was, I feel, corrupt and using its people. And that's where my paperwork is with them. And I'm a little embarrassed about that. But it's already filed. It's already filed with everyone. It's the White House, the Library of Congress, etc. You know, it's all out there. So there's nothing I can
here's
do.
The deal. It's okay because we're so freaking powerful. Watch this. Jurisdiction can be invoked at any time. Even if the paperwork was compromised and you sent it to everybody, you can send them new paperwork and they got to start all over again. Period.
Islam.
So
rescission of
we're
signature.
Allowed to make mistakes.
Any moment.
As we free ourselves, we're allowed to make mistakes, but when you know better, you do better. You do better, period.
Exactly.
Islam.
So don't worry about it. Don't sweat it.
I don't know that it's compromised, but they weren't the most honorable organization.
And there's that out there. When they have fiat on their brain instead of freedom, then a lot of times that's the case. But when you have freedom on your mind, you're not even going to be thinking about any of that stuff, because this is the part that everybody should know, but I don't know why they don't just get it. Look, if you give the paperwork away, and the more people that do it, you start seeing the results that we're seeing now, where we're overwhelming their system. There's so many more that are demonstrating that they can't continue to act like they don't know who the Moors are.
Right.
Because every 5 minutes, another Moor is coming, some more Moorish paperwork coming across their desk.
Yep.
The more of us that do it, the better.
I want to say something, please, guys. Empress Light.
Yes.
I want to say to you, Sharon, Myra, Aj, all the people that are spearheading this thing, that are trying to help all of us. I want to salute you guys. I'm 100% behind you. I know all of us are 100%, but I don't have the words to say it. But I just want to say thank you for all that you guys are doing, and I'm concerned about safety. You guys, when all you guys moving around safe, you know, trying to move alone. I know the beasts we are dealing with. I'm fighting some battles here. I know how they are. And so I'm just concerned about your safety, the leaders. You know, we have to protect you guys. That's what I want to say.
Thank you for that, Islam, and much love to you for that. Know this, that and I think this and say this all the time. If they haven't bothered Tariq Bey, I can say whatever I want to say because he has made a whole bunch of folks free. And if they're not bothering him, they sure don't want me. Okay, so I'm grateful that they haven't done anything with our the people. But see again, if we're competent, they can't touch us. And that means that goes for policy enforcers. That goes for those. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
They can't do a thing if we're competent, and that's what this is all about.
The other thing you got to remember, they're talking about Morocco. Morocco over there is you're talking about a corporation over there because they're registered with the state. Right?
We don't negotiate with corporations. We don't have to.
All right.
Listen.
So that's the corporation, Morocco. That's not the kingdom of Morocco.
And all corporations are subject to leaning, so they better, I don't know who's who over there, but do not come trying to talk any junk when it comes to this treaty and this Constitution and these rights that we have, because we will lien you, and in 90 days you will be no longer. You'll be trying to figure out how to pay people.
I have to lien my place of employment because they won't honor my tax immune status. I'm going to lien them. If I'm unemployed, I'm unemployed. But I'm leaning them.
Lean them. And here's the thing about leaning them. You don't even have to tell them that you're leaning them. You don't have to tell them that you're leaning them.
Right.
We've given all corporations notice of intent to lien, period. So now that all corporations, it's on the public forum. Since it's on the public forum, that notice of intent to lien, then you just do the lien and send it to Washington, D.C.
Right.
And let that be it.
That's it.
And then you go to work every day until they say, well, we got liened. So
luckily I work remotely, so I don't have to look at them.
There you go.
I'm leaning mine on too.
There you go. But know this too, that with this being out of work thing and all of that, there are some things in place right now. Am I rid of the echo?
No, the echo's still going.
Someone's.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna mute out, so I'm gonna put my mute.
Yeah, okay.
Everyone mute your phone so her echo will stop. Mute yourself so she can speak with no echo.
Okay. Islam, thank you for that. Everybody for muting. Just a second. With regard to being without jobs and all of that stuff, there are some things being put in place so that we don't have to worry about that. Know that. So as it stands right now, keep doing what you're doing. If you're in having to go to a plantation every day, go ahead and go to the plantation, but be implementing these processes. Be putting things in your trust. Get your declaration out there. Do all the things that need to be done so that as you safely unplug from the matrix, you're walking straight into your nobility and possessing the land without being molested. There are some wonderful things being put in place right now, even as we speak, so that we don't have to worry about going to the grocery store. We don't have to worry about money. We don't have to worry about anything. But we have to keep doing what we're doing and stay on the path that we're on right now until those things kick all the way in. See, all we really had to do was stand up and speak. Okay? That's all we had to do. And we're doing that, and we have to keep speaking. And as we're speaking, the ancestors are giving us the answers that we need so that we can continue to live on our estates and not have to worry about the plantation piece if we don't want to worry about the plantation piece because we're busy governing. Okay?
Islam.
It's the Moorish coup d'etat.
That's it. All day, every day, and they know it. They call it a silent war. We're not at war with anybody. We're at peace on our land, but the pen happens to be mightier than the sword. That's all.
You're just putting them in check.
Period. Just getting back in our rightful place. That's it. All right, everybody. Peace and love to you. We'll see you same time, same place next Saturday.
Peace and love.
We are Monte Lusa, everybody. Peace and love.